Hello guys, hope you're doing all right. So today we're going to work with Canva to come up with sort of like a simple Instagram post of a popcorn selling business. So basically, let me just present this in full. So this is what we're going to start with, and then God willing, we're going to progress to come up with something like this, right? It's going to not be like exactly this, but just sort of the taste is going to be like similar. So we're going to have some graphics that we're going to work with. We're going to have font styling. We're going to have font sizing. I think I talked about graphics if I haven't, but yeah, we're going to use these graphics that are on the post, right? We're going to use this image of popcorn in a bowl and some popcorn on the floor. I got this on Unsplash from Sumit B. I'll pass the link of the image in the description or anywhere relevant for the other post. Right, so let's get started. Now, if you're new to Canva, I'm assuming that you're not new, but if you're new, what you need to do is to create a custom template, or you can just create an Instagram post, but the dimensions have to be sort of a square equal 1080 by 1080. If I click on file here, you can see it says Instagram post by Abdurrahman Luanda, 1080 by 1080. So you can just create a new design. After you create a new design, download the image, and then you just place the image in the background. But for now, we're just going to I'll start from here. If you have any questions, you can actually raise them in the comment section. So let's dive in. So first off, if we look at the design that we have here as the end product, you see we have like these kinds of like dots to the left top corner, to the right top corner, and we have this sort of buzzing the graphic, and then we have this text that says tasty popcorn, and then we have this sort of flash bang sort of, I don't know, bang, I don't know, or something of I don't know what you could call it, but anyways, that. And then we have the text price tag in dollar, and then you have this sort of arrow pointing to that price tag, and then you have these circles down here. I hope you see them. So basically, how we're going to architect this design is that we're going to start with the dots, and then we're going to move on to that graphic, and then we're going to go to the text, and then we're going to the arrow and the dollar, and then we're going to finalize with the circles down below. So let's get started. God willing, right? Here's the image. So let's get started. So what I did was I actually curated these resources already, and here they are. So these are the 5 resources that we're going to use for the fonts. So we're going to use these dimensions. So the first text that says tasty is going to be at a 189. The second one that says what's that? Popcorn is going to be at a 139, and the last one is going to be at a 115, right? Now, these are grouped. I'm going to ungroup this, so you can just click ungroup and then start with the designs. So I'm going to click this, Control C if you're on PC, I mean Windows. I don't know what the combination is on Mac, but on Windows, it's just Control and C. So when you do that, we're going to get back to the earlier image, and then we're going to paste there. And then we're going to move this to the far right, and then we're going to duplicate this and move it to the far top left, right, somewhere there. Now, since this was yellow, one thing I also forgot, we're going to use a 3-way color palette. So we're going to have yellow, and then we're going to have white, and then we're going to have this light yellow, right? So getting back here, I'm going to change this to white. Let's do that, white. So maybe for you guys to follow along, you can just see the hex code. So the light yellow is hash FE F7A2. For the yellow, it's hash double F CC01. For white, it's usually Fs. So it's you can have 6 Fs and how many Fs you want. So it's hash double F double F double F. So like 6 Fs. Now, this is our start. So we're making some progress. So what we need to do next is actually, let me just move this far below, and we have the resources quite closer to us. So what we need to do next is to actually bring that buzzing thing right here, right? So let me just decrease this a little bit and move it up. So let's grab the design, Control C and Control V, right? So I'm going to move this just a little bit up on the bow. Let's move this a little bit more further up. You can use this by the function keys. I don't know, keys up, left, right, down. Yeah, you can do that to move the graphic. So let me just position it there. Now you can see we're actually making progress. It's taking shape, and I think we're progressing. We're doing really good. Now, what remains is the text here that says tasty popcorn and the price tag, and then those kind of like circles down below, right? Now, we need to introduce the text. So you're going to go here where it says text, and then you're going to pick this, it says default text styles. So you're just going to pick the heading one, and it says add heading. It's in black. So we're going to first change the color to white. I hope that's applied. Yeah. So that's applied. So we're going to leave it here. Now, as you can see, this is quite different from the font that we're using. Let me just scale this. If you see this font, it's quite different from the font that we're using here or here. It's totally different, right? So what we need to do is we need to actually pick a font that's going to follow along with what we want to assumably come up with the design at the end, a conclusion. So we want to have a similar design approach. So I'm going to click escape and go back to this text. So this text is sized at 78 and it has a font styling of Canva Sans. So we don't want that. We want to switch to Maricate, right? If you don't have Maricate, which is by default, I believe you won't have, you can just type in here where it says type calligraphy or Open Sans. Then you can just type Maricate, and then you should have the font here, right? So let me select that. As you can see, it has actually changed to the font of Maricate. Now, what's remaining is that we need to give it a dimension, so a sizing, right? So that it actually looks similar to the final design. So we want to select all this, and then we want to give this 189, right? So that's a huge a text, but that's what we want to work with. So I'm going to move this here, and I'm going to retype this. So you can just double click with the left click, and then we're going to type tasty. All right, so we're making progress. But if you look at this, it's sort of normal. But if you look at the final design, you see it's kind of like curved, right? So we want to actually apply that curve to both the tasty text as well as the popcorn text, right? So don't worry, we're going to do that. So tasty, what you need to do now is to go here where it says effects. So you're going to click there, and then you have a ton of types of styles. You have shadow, you have lift, you have hollow, you have glitch, you have neon. So you want to pick this curve, right? The shape type. So we select that. Now you can see it has actually curved to give this sort of like semicircle type of curve. So we take that, we move it a little bit up, and we give it a different color. So we want it to have the yellow color. Boom. So we're making progress. So that's tasty. Now we want to move this a little bit down, and we want to duplicate this to also have the text of popcorn. But that one is going to be white. So Control D, and then you just move it a little bit down, and then we type popcorn. Popcorn, right? So you just click outside the window, so you have your popcorn text. But you can see this is actually the same dimension as the tasty text. So we don't want that. We want something slightly small. So we want to give this like a 139. 139. So you can actually see it's much smaller than the tasty text. So we want to move this away from the tasty text, just somewhere there, right? Now, this is yellow, this is yellow. We want this to be white. So you double click that, you click here, and then we change it to white, right? Now we want to move this a little bit up. So what you want to do is you want to group these two texts together, and then you want to move them slightly up. So what you do on Windows, is you hold Shift, and then you click the text that you want, and you click the other text as well, and then you group them, right? So now you have this sort of block of text that you can actually move around. So I'm going to move this a little bit up, somewhere there, right? Nice. So we're making some progress. So let me move it a little bit to the right. So if I actually scale this, you can actually see we're making some progress. We have our graphics taking shape. We have the features actually taking shape. And when we actually go to the final design, you can see it's not exactly the same, but we're actually making some progress, right? So what's next? We want the price tag, and we want to move this a little bit up so that at least we have some similarity in design. Now we're going to disband this and group, and we're going to move this slightly a little bit up. And there, right? So, we now need to introduce the arrow, and it's going to actually kind of point to the price tag, right? And I'm going to go to the resources, select the arrow, Control C, Control V, and this needs to actually rotate to actually point where we want our price tag to be at. So you can do that by using this sort of is it? I don't know. You have this arrow, I don't know, sort of a refresh, I don't know. But yeah, you can use that. Simply just hold and move the graphic to the level that you want. So what we want is something like this, but pointing at where we want the price tag to be at, right? So let me move this a little bit. Yeah, somewhere there. So if we look at the design, the final design, this is a little bit higher. So we want to move this a little bit higher, and then we want to grab this to that level. So let me group this again. Group, move this a little bit up. So we get this somewhere there. And we can actually scale this. Let me increase this in size. Yeah. So now we want to introduce the sort of popping thing. This, right? So similar, Control C. Then we come back here, Control V. So this is actually small, and we want to scale this. So we're just going to drag one end of this corner, and we're going to drag this end as well. And we're going to move it just slightly here. Let me drag this a little bit here. And yeah. Now you can see we're actually making some good progress. So let me move this a little bit up, and let me move this a little bit to the side. And yeah, so we have the text, we have the graphic, we have the other graphics, so we have almost everything in place. So let me scale this a little bit. Now we want that price tag in the center of this graphic. So what you need to do is just introduce the text as well. So text, we can just add the same heading. We're going to give it the same styling. I mean the font, Americate, and we just give this say, excuse me. So we have $1. So we're going to move that to the center, and we're going to scale this a little bit. Yeah, so we want to actually duplicate this semicircle. So I'll move this to the right, and I'll duplicate this again and move it to the left, right? So I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to move this down as well, right? So this has to go down as well. Yeah, so we're going to scale this a little bit. And yeah, something like that, right? So we want to move these guys further down, and here further down as well. Now you can see this is yellow, right? But when we look at our design, we have them in white, and then we have one sort of a little bit curved yellow, right? So what we want to do is we want to give them all white, and then we're going to create a new duplicate, which we're going to give a yellow color, right? So let's do that. Getting back here, we're going to duplicate this one in the center, and we're just going to center it. You can't see it right now, but it's there. So we're going to move it a little bit up. You can see it protruding. Now, this one, we're going to give the white color, right? Now, you can see it actually has taken precedence over the one in yellow. So we want to send this to the back so that the one in yellow actually, rather, we want to have this here, and then let's just delete this. I forgot to actually change the colors, so let's give this white, 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 and white, right? So we want to duplicate this one in the center, and we want to move this a little bit up. Let's just kind of center this. And now let's give this yellow, right? Now we want to send this to the back so that it actually just takes that slight of a curve. So we want to right click and click on the layer. So just click send backward. That sends just sort of differently than sent to back. Sent to back is just like sends it further back, right? So we're going to do it step by step. So we're going to layer, send backward, layer, send backward. This is if you want to go by layer, and maybe you want to just push it not too far to the back. Maybe you just want it somewhere in the middle and not really, really far. But you can just do that. If you want to send it to the furthest end, then you just click send to back. So you can see it's not that positioned well. So we want to move this to the right. And we want to actually bring it down, right? Now you can see it has a similar curve. You can see right there to what we had here. Just that this one is a bit oversized, right? So we want to actually reduce the size so that at least it's quite similar to the design that we initially had. So I'm going to group all this into one group, and I'm going to just scale this down, right? You can see it's getting smaller. Now I want to center this is somewhere there. The good thing about Canva is that it actually gives you the kind of lining where you can actually stop. And if you're in the center or somewhere, maybe the dimensions are quite similar, then you can just pause there. So right here, let me move this a little bit. Yeah, so when we look at this, present a bit. No, let's just keep it like that. So this is our final design. This is what we've actually been working on, and it's not entirely the same as what we have here, but it's something that's similar to that design, right? So I believe I've shown quite the process to how we can come up with this. If you have further questions, drop them in the comment section. If you want to know further, please do let me know. But for today, I think we're going to stop here, and I'll pass the names of the resources so that when you're actually looking them up in Canva, you can actually find them easily. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.